How's everybody? Oh, anytime, Bob. Hope everyone's having a good Valentine's Day. I guess that's what it is, Valentine's Day. We move on to the next game, which is Mississippi State, team that just had a big win against Alabama. We both have the same record, I think, in conference play. So, needless to say, it's a big game. It's a big game in a lot of ways for our basketball team. Having lost 2 on the road and having our chance now to defend the home court against a Mississippi State team I think it was like in the top 15 early in the year, and they're playing at a much higher level. Very talented team, very athletic team, great size. Of course, you have the Witherspoon brothers and Quindary. Witherspoon's an outstanding player, a senior, that leads their team in scoring and a lot of other categories. The Lamar Peters kid is a really crafty guard, quick, handles the ball, gets guys in position to score. And again, they have size, and we'll play about 8-9 guys. So it should be an outstanding game. Looking forward to our guys coming out and hopefully playing with the energy you got to play with this time of the year. Again, coming off of a tough loss at Missouri where we're in position to win the game, and that's the thing that we're trying to find, that consistency. The consistency to play at a high level for 40 minutes, and that's when you start taking to the next level. And with 7 games left on our schedule, that's our mindset right now, and it's the most important game is the Mississippi State game.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned the other day you thought the South Carolina first half was the best defense you guys have played all year. Then they scored 46 in the second half. Mizzou scored 46 in the first half. What do you think happened to your defense after that first half of Carolina? What do you got to do to get back to what you guys are playing?
I thought for about the first 28 minutes, I mean, I thought we played pretty good defense. We were tenacious and getting after it. I thought in the Missouri game, I thought we came out with a little sluggish. I think we didn't have the energy. And I don't know if it's the quick turnaround or what it was. We didn't have that energy until the second half, because in the second half they only scored 33 points. And so that's why I talk about the consistency. We got to do it for 40 minutes. Can't do it for 20 minutes or 25 minutes. And that energy has got to be started at the beginning of the game, the middle of the game, and finish the game. So the inconsistencies is where we got to, and sometimes it goes hand in hand with scoring. When you're scoring, your energy level goes up. So we've got to be able to, not necessarily just because we're scoring, that we're playing at a high level on defense. But give Missouri credit. They came out and made some shots. And even when you're talking about South Carolina's a good basketball team.
Since you recruited Reggie Perry, just kind of what do you look for out of him, and what problems does he present?
He's a skilled forward that can rebounds the ball well, can score, passes the basketball. He's a good basketball player, and he's playing really good right now.
Yeah, Mike, speaking of, what do you remember about he committed here and then he flipped, and that happened?
Well, he was Mississippi State, so I mean, commitment is one thing, but when you sign in on Mississippi State, so. It's good. He's a good basketball player.
I guess Quindary Witherspoon, you played him a bunch. Just kind of what
he presents a problem because he's so strong. He can rebound. He can score inside, outside. And right now, it just seems like he started playing some of his best basketball right around this time. Just has a great nose for the ball, great instincts, and but again, he's been around a while, so he's a veteran, and he is the leader of their team.
Players, they said execution and lack of execution towards those final possessions where it's a win or a loss is really where this team has fallen, and that's frustrated them because that could mean more wins for this team. As a coach, when you look at that execution, how do you hound on your guys how important it is on those final possessions of the game?
Well, it's something that we work on. We work on situations in practice each and every day, and so it's just a learning process you got to go through. In the games, you got to learn it, and we come up short sometimes. We come on the other side of it. But I think if you persevere and you learn from it, I think eventually it'll turn to your favor. So hopefully, and we're going to be in more games like that this year. But like I said, I think the guys are putting themselves in position to win those games, and now it's all about players making plays. If you look at all those teams, players making plays, and sometimes that play may not be just from an offensive standpoint. It may be a defensive execution, and we had multiple plays, I thought, in the Missouri game, whether it be a loose ball, whether we giving up a behind the back, a lob to a guy that shouldn't take place, a hustle play. And those are the things that add up. Switching at the wrong time. I mean, those are the things that kind of add up, and I think if you kind of nullify some of those situations, then obviously the execution you're talking about has happened then.
The way Isaiah shot the ball this year sets the freshman record for three-pointers made in a season. Are you surprised at the level he's been able to play at all season long, or is that something that you kind of thought might come?
Well, you think about him coming in, he was probably going to be one of those guys that kind of add on to what we already had. And now he was thrown into the fire. He had to be one of those guys to step up. And so for a young guy coming from high school, and he weighs about $165, maybe 63. I'm being generous there. I think he's done a really good job of coming in and trying to do the things we asked him to do and playing at a high level, knocking shots down. But he does more than just knock shots down. He takes charges, he rebounds, he defends. You can see his future is really, really bright here in a Razorback uniform.
Keyshawn, since his performance against LSU, seems to not only have a lot more confidence in himself, but he's playing a lot more minutes. Him off the bench, have you seen like a light bulb go off and everything's now starting to click with Keyshawn? Or how proud are you to have him kind of come along at this point of the season?
Well, it's good to see him, play with confidence. I think that's the biggest word there, confidence. And I've been looking for it to come, but you're talking about a guy that's, he set out his whole last year at IMG, because of a stress fracture and then had surgery. So he's starting to come into his own. His body and his game now is starting to showcase. He's doing on defense. We've seen some of the offensive explosion that he's capable of doing, and that's so important to our bench. I think even in the last game, I think if our bench scores for us, I think we win that game. So I think it's real critical going down this stretch right here. Keyshawn continue to come on, and that's the process we talk about. These guys just come from high school, and you're trying to get them to play, in one of the best leagues in the country, and you're playing against seniors and juniors and guys who've kind of been through the wars. And these guys, this is their first year going through it, and I think they've done well. Desi, he's got to continue to come on. I think he's starting to play with a lot more pop and confidence. We saw Gabe kind of exploded a little bit. It got a little carried away, but he exploded a little bit in the game. And of course, we've seen Reggie, and that's to me is the secret to this team here is that they control their own destiny. Is the consistency for 40 minutes, the execution that you talked about, defensively, offensively. I think we're light years away where we were from in about 3 weeks ago, and so now it's just putting it all together at this time of the year.
Mike, I think 5 of these games you got left are against teams projected to be in the NCAA tournament. So that's the tough schedule, but that's good opportunities for you guys because if you beat them, it obviously raises your profile. How do you feel about having a tough schedule, but what that can do if you can win some of these games? Well,
we've had a tough schedule all year long, and with this young basketball team, so every game has been of significant magnitude, and it continues. And so you're talking about teams now that have done well in the non-conference and even in the conference play. Presents challenges, but you're right, they're great opportunities.
Jafford, just how big was that after the off game at South Carolina to have the big one that he did at Missouri?
Well, I mean, he's commanded that attention. So I think with that being said, you got to step up to the plate, and I was glad to see him do it. He's very, very capable of doing it, and I think you just got to continue to add to our team. I think he's a big part of what we do. We talked about things going through him. And I don't mean necessarily the scoring part of it. He may be the guy that's making those extra passes and things of that nature. And he's got to be consistent in his play as well. I think we got to expect some things out of him. So I'm expecting to hopefully see some of the same things take place in the Mississippi State game, and as we go down to finish up the schedule.
I guess there's been some stuff on Twitter about Justice Hill talking to Chad Morris about football. Is that something you guys have talked about? Is there something going on there?
Justice has just been practicing. He's just been practicing with us right now.
So there's not any football for him right now that you're.
Well, he just, like I said, he hadn't said anything to me about football.
And then the Mississippi State leads the league in 3-point shooting, or for all overall games. Just what do you think of the 3-point shooting, and how big is that? Because obviously South Carolina shot pretty well, Mizzou shot pretty well.
I think it's going to be a factor. I think can't let them kill us inside, with their size. But at the same time, we got to be out there with those guys to shoot the basketball, and they got multiple guys that can shoot it. Both Witherspoon brothers, Lamar Peters, Holman can step out and shoot the basketball. The Carter kid, even Reggie can step out and shoot the basketball. So they got multiple guys that can shoot it. So our defense is going to have to be everywhere. And the finishing part of defense is rebounding the basketball. We got to make sure they're contested 3-point shots. I thought in the South Carolina game they had wide open shots where the assignment, the execution we talked about on defense, it broke down. They got through the way the ball screened, and guys are rotating, and now guys out there shooting wide open shots. We can't let them just have wide open shots. Most guys are going to make those shots.
You mentioned the bench a few minutes ago. Reggie's had a good year off the bench, but his last couple games hadn't done a whole lot. What do you think's going on with him, and what do you got to do to maybe get him back going?
I think he'll be fine. I mean, he's just a freshman. That's all. That's the inconsistency we talked about. He'll be fine.
Bobby's getting honored today for Jersey getting retired down at Hall High School tonight. Just,
Right.
Bobby and what he meant to this program. Remember watching him in high school and what he's been able to do in the NBA.
Oh, he is the ultimate, I think the ultimate ambassador, one of the favorite sons of Arkansas, the University of Arkansas, the state of Arkansas. And what a great honor for a young man who is nothing but class. I think when we think about what he did here, I think he just came and just exploded on the scene, and the headband, the smile, his energy. And I thought he meant so much to what we were trying to establish here, and even as we move forward now. And so I'm happy for him that he's being recognized by his high school, and I don't think it'll be the last honor for him, because very deserving of it. I mean, even as we talk right now, he's still represents the Razorbacks in everywhere where he goes, and talks about us and keeps up with us. Okay. All right.